I just realized I still had the recording going from the previous segment. I'm trying to get to where I stop the recording and start the recording so they're in separate video files and it's easier for me to process. So just dump them on one of your viewers. Sacrificial basic account. Really? That's interesting. Okay. Alright, so we're going to play 4-color Lutri. Now, there's too many cards here for me to actually do a deck tech, because I would be here all day. But the idea is, we play the Companion Lutri, which is a 3-mana 3/2 flash. When it enters, you get to fork an instant or sorcery that you've cast. So it's a pretty good payoff. The idea is, we're just playing the most powerful Grixis plus Splash White tempo control singleton list that you can play, I think. Yeah, no kidding, Sissia. Of course, Kano plays with the forking otter. Oh. Tarek, there you go. Alright, so here's the thing. I'm going to make a bet with chat. And I kind of want to drive viewership a little bit. I'm going to make a bet with chat. If I can 5-0 on stream with a deck like this one, I'll gift 10 subs to my own chat. How does that sound? I will randomly distribute some free subs to people. I will pay for them out of pocket. Just because I want people to have a little more hope than they've had before. Sounds like you're going to actively punt to save some money. I wouldn't do that. The only reason I would actively punt is because I'm an incompetent moron. Alright. I'm going to take 4-color Lutri into a league. Let's do this. Gets to 4-0. Oh no, I've mulliganed 5 times by accident. Wins anyway. Crap, I didn't mean to hit yes. Oh my gosh. Hey Mav, how's it going? You know you would do something like that? Yes, I am playing a Lutri deck, Rodeo-san. When will we get the legendary Lutritron? Oh god. Blue Lutritron. I don't know if that can actually be done. I think you did, Dick Record, but that's still not my birthday. You forgot to commit to the meme. He double-clicked Mulligan on a keepable 7 by mistake. That's because I wasn't looking where I was clicking. Otterman's easy 5-0, probably. For Thesis Research, thank you for resubscribing. You're a wonderful human being, and I appreciate your support. And confidence in myself. Is there a combo? In this deck, no. This is not a combo deck. This is actually like a fair-ish, like 4-color tempo control list. Kano never reads or looks where he clicks. Makes his magic talents much more impressive. Playing a fair deck will get you killed, play broken. I mean, it's got a Ragavan in it. And a Dragon's Rage Channeler and a Kroxa. It's got broken cards. Just a fair strategy. So we're going to reveal Lutri. We are on the play, which is pretty big. We've got a Force of Negation, Dress Down, a Thoughtseize. Man, I think we got a mulligan. I think we can do better than this. The Thoughtseize is nice. Are we playing Shadow, actually? We are not. We are not playing Shadow. Okay, so otherwise, like, Fetch Shock Thoughtseize might be reasonable, even if it is just a singleton. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, this is way better. I'm going to put back Fury. Why not Nile Spellbomb over Lantern? Actually don't know. That might be a nice inclusion. My guess is because black is one of the quote-unquote splash colors. I'm going to put back Fury, because I like having the lands here. We're going to lead on Polluted Delta and pass the turn. I also didn't build the list. Any chance Kano could share his dream journal during one of these streams? I'd pay paper money for that. Oh my gosh. You guys don't want to know the kind of crap I dream about. I don't think you would enjoy it. And it's Tron! Alright. We'll play another Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. We do have a Logic Knot if our opponent plays something like Sylvan Scrying here. Opponent sacks Star for green. If they cast Ancient Stirrings, if they cast... Ooh, do I counter a Chromatic Star?
Kano here. Come to my grinder if you wanna play King Otter.
No. Okay, opponent plays Urza's Tower, Chromatic Star. So sack Polluted Delta. Favorite counterspell art? As in the art for a counterspell or the art for the card counterspell? We'll get a Watery Grave tapped. We untap. We draw Scalding Tarn. Okay. For the actual card counterspell, I actually think I prefer the original, like, guy doing the thing. like with the like he's got the somatic component where he's got his hands out and the like the three beers pose and like the spells like wilting off his fingers. The traditional one. I like that one, I think, the best. Okay, opponent has just straight up Tron. Opponent cracks Chromatic Star and plays a Thragtusk. Ah, yes. The humble Thragtusk. Let's shock Sacred Foundry. Blue, blue. 1, 2, 3. So counter it unless they pay 3. And they play a Walking Ballista on 1. We untap and draw Thoughtseize. Okay, we need to Thoughtseize here. Let's see exactly how boned we are. Opponent has an Urza's Mine, Karn Liberated, Wormcoil Engine, Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. So Ulamog is 2 turns away, Karn is an immediate threat next turn, and Wormcoil Engine is going to be very difficult for us to answer. I think we take Karn from them, and then I'm going to shock. Now the question is, do I put Lutri in my hand, or do I play out Teferi and Uptick? I think I put Lutri in my hand, actually. Pass the turn. Because if I play out Teferi and Uptick, they just put a bunch of counters on Walking Ballista and kill him. Ugin. That is also bad. Ugin shoots us for 3, we go to 8. Something tells me that this is not a good matchup for this deck. We untap. We draw a Terminate, which does not help us because our opponent is going to be playing Ulamog. I have to fetch and shock to get black mana. I could Kaya's Guile to kill Ulamog. The problem is I think I'm dead to just Ugin? It depends on my opponent's sequencing here. Let's see what they do. There is definitely a correct way to do their next turn, and there's an easy missequence they can make. Alright, opponent does make the correct choice and shoots us immediately. Alright. So let's make our adjustments, shall we? We definitely want Alpine Moon, probably Obsidian Charmaw. Dovin's Veto seems important. So does Wear and Tear. Oh, there's a Nile Spellbomb in the sideboard. Ross 3010, I think it was, so I think that's the easy swap. I kind of want Spell Pierce. Isolate can get some edge case value. Chalice is pretty good against Tron. The only problem is it shuts off so many of our spells. I don't think I can actually play it. Lavinia. Of course we want Lavinia. For everyone who just thought about screaming and I could hear the keyboards furiously clacking, bring in Lavinia. Because she's super good versus Tron. Okay. Engrossed is a big word for Kano. He's staring at the computer screen like moths stare at lights. Oh my gosh. Alright, so the question is, what is bad versus Tron? And I think the answer is Fatal Push, Cling to Dust, probably Lantern. Dress Down does get some edge case usage. Drown in the Loch is significantly worse. So is Lightning Helix. This is typical league score. Oh my gosh. I think I get rid of Murktide Regent, just because it's unlikely that we're going to... Like, we can't get an early Murktide Regent. I think do we have better threats than Murktide against Tron? Maybe. Maybe not. I gotta cut 3 cards. This is very difficult. I think it's gonna be Terminate, because Terminate doesn't kill... Like, it kills Wormcoil when it attacks, but it doesn't do much else. Because it only kills half a Wormcoil. Yes, I did say Drown was bad, and I'm looking for things to cut. And I'll run 61 cards, because I'm bad at this game. Alright, I'll play first. Reveal Lutri. Alright, we got an Alpine Moon. We got a Scalding Tarn for our Expressive Iteration. So lead on Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. You don't have to say you're bad at this game, it's implied when we tune in. Oh my gosh. It's good to know that if I streamed at like regular working hours, more people would tune in. I think that's cool. Opponent plays an Expedition map. Later, Mauve. Thanks for showing up. Opponent gets an Expedition map, sure. Crack Scalding Tarn. Get a Raugrin Triome. Expedition map enters the battlefield. We untap. We draw a Memory Deluge. Actually, I should have set up to play Kroxa this turn, so I think I grabbed the wrong land. Now, I could just Alpine Moon and name Tower. That might throw my opponent off. That is the only way to feign incompetence and pretend I was doing something in a sequence that matters. So Alpine Moon, say Urza's Tower. Pass the turn. That's fair, Tarek. Okay, opponent plays tower because they have tower. They're going to crack map and probably get power plant. Blast zone. Fair enough. We untap. We draw an island, thankfully. I don't really have good reactive spells here, so I'm going to Expressive Iteration. Hopefully hit a land. Okay, we put Dovin's Veto into our hand. We are going to put Sacred Foundry on the bottom of our deck and exile Polluted Delta. Play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. For the latter half of Kroxa, we do have red, red, black. Provided, of course, I remember to get like a Watery Grave. And I should. Opponent Ancient Stirrings. Gonna get more information before they do anything. Chromatic Sphere. Opponent plays Chromatic Sphere into Blast Zone. Sacking Sphere for green and Ancient Stirrings again. Into mine. Okay. So the bad news is we are going to end up losing our Alpine Moon. The good news is we should still be okay to react after that. Okay, we draw Dragon's Rage Channeler. Play an island. So the question is, do I play out Dragon's Rage Channeler? Now I'm either going to have to cast Subtlety or cast Veto. So I would be giving up something like Prismari Command. Oh, I should not have played Channeler out into my opponent's Blast Zone. Ross 3010, you weren't fast enough. Opponent plays hers is mine. I should have Croxed. But you know me. I think what I'm going to do to get value out of this play now is I'm going to loot and make a treasure. Because this lets me get a Surveil. Bloodstained Mire. I do need another black source for Kroxa, but I'm getting a treasure token. So I'm just going to put that in the grave. K command is good. We'll put Kroxa in the grave along with Scalding Tarn. We get a treasure. Now I'm not gonna reanimate Kroxa this turn, I don't think. Okay, we drew another land, excellent. Because they're gonna have Tron next turn, and whether it's a creature threat, a planeswalker threat, or some sort of non-creature threat, we have the answers to everything. Yeah, go ahead and pass turn. My apologies, once again. I tend not to play decks like this one. This deck has very complex lines and very powerful tools. 6 mana, opponent plays Thragtusk. So we cast Subtlety. Opponent plays Chromatic Star. Then passes. Crack Scalding Tarn. We get a Blood Crypt tapped. We untap. Draw Teferi. Now I'm not scared of a Thragtusk. I would be scared of an Ulamog. And I am scared of a Planeswalker. Now for them to have Ulamog, they would have to have exactly Tower Ulamog, which is not impossible. But if they do, I can't really do anything about that, can I? So the only thing I can really do here is play Teferi, uptick, and attack. Because if they replay Thragtusk, that's fine. If they play Planeswalker, then I just Dovin's Veto. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that then. I need to remember to untap Raugrin Triome because I need white mana. So uptick Teferi, we draw Snapcaster Mage. Attack with Subtlety. Pass to our end step. And untap Triome. And I'll untap Watery Grave. Okay. Opponent sack Star for green. Tail's End would be a good sideboard here. I haven't seen Tail's End in like any deck for a very long time. So we Dovin's Veto. And next turn we have Snapcaster Dovin's Veto too. We draw Spirebluff Canal. So uptick Teferi again. We draw Darkslick Shores. So I could play Kroxa, then play a land, and I would untap 2 lands, and I would have Island, Treasure Token, 2 lands for Snapcaster Dovin's Veto. But we're still screwed if our opponent plays Ulamog, I think. Yeah, alright. Black, black, red, red, Kroxa. Get rid of everything that isn't what we're going to be Snapcastering. Okay. Kroxa enters the battlefield. Opponent ditches Walking Ballista. Kroxa sticks around. We go to combat. Hit our opponent for 3. So we're kind of hoping they cast like an Ugin here. So we untap Raugrin Triome and Steam Vents. Opponent untaps. They play Oblivion Stone. Yeah, we have to Dovin's Veto that. So Snapcaster for Dovin's Veto. Turn off auto yields. I'm not auto yielding when I have a counterspell, unlike the other 30 times I've done that. So opponent plays Karn. Okay. So they can Karn and kill Kroxa or kill Teferi. They kill Kroxa. Then pass. We untap. We draw Spell Pierce. Uptick to Fairy. We draw a Lightning Bolt. So I could K-command them for 2, bolt them to get them to 9, hit them for 5, and take them to 4. It's not quite enough. So play Spirebluff tapped, bolt Karn, go to combat, hit them for 5. I can put Lutri in my hand, but I'm thinking I kind of want a Memory Deluge, and I can't do both. I mean, I got double Spell Pierce, but that's... Let's put Lutri in her hand. Yes, I uptick to Fairy. Oh, I can still Memory Deluge. I just can't do anything else. Math. All right, untap and untap. Pass to our opponent. Okay, opponent draws. They got 4 cards in hand. They play their 3rd mine. 10 mana for Ulamog. Let's see what they hit. They're going to hit Subtlety, and they're going to hit to Fairy. So we will not be able to attack past an Ulamog. I cannot counter it either, because the only thing I could counter it with is that Subtlety that's sitting on the board and dying. I think I Memory Deluge here. I probably should not have used Bolt to kill Karn. I probably should have attacked Karn, because then I could, like, Lutri Bolt for double damage, but I think it's actually the same clock regardless. Okay, I will pick up Jace the Mind Sculptor, and probably the land. No, I want Force of Negation, actually. Okay, so we lose those 2 permanents. We untap, we draw Flooded Strand. So the problem is I think I have to Jace unsummon here, and then hit them for 2, take them to 7. Just pass. Let them exile the top 20 cards in my deck and take 10. Could Jace unsummon Snap. Lutri, K-command 4. Next turn, unsummon, swing for 5. Command it back. Alright, we'll play out Flooded Strand. And we'll pass. I'm going to have to play a lot faster in round 3. So I might have to ignore chat here coming up. But I'll try and talk through what I'm doing. Okay, opponent goes to combat. Attacks us for 10. We lose 20 cards. We take 10, go to 7. So I'm going to have to Jace unsummon that, because there's nothing else I can do about that. Oh, and the Thragtusk. I think Thragtusk... So the correct play was in response to Wormcoil Engine, Kolaghan's command, shock my opponent for 4, make them discard 2, because we knew they stuck that back on top. I can shatter it with K-command, that's right, but that's not the problem. The problem is my opponent's out of range for the clock that I have left. Yeah, I just didn't see it in time. Alright, hang on a minute. I'm still going to try and play this out because it's a loss if I don't. So on my opponent's end step, we are going to hold priority. We are going to... Oh, if I copy the spell, I have to use the same modes. We are going to destroy an artifact, 2 damage to any target, hold priority. I don't think this works, but I am going to try. I was holding priority! Okay, this opponent gets the tokens. Crack Flooded Strand. No fetchable lands left. We untap. Let's consider. I will mill Wear and Tear. Draw Opt. It's Opt. Prodigy to the bottom. Dress down. It doesn't really do anything. It would have stopped the lifelink. Would have been useful last turn, but no, I lost. I lost because I didn't see the line, first off. It was a very complicated line, at least by my standards, and with a deck that I'm unfamiliar with. So that's the first reason I lost. Second reason that I lost is because my only chance at probably trying to do something or taking a line that would have won, Moto did not let me hold priority for the spell. So I couldn't copy anything with Lutri. All right. I am going to go ahead and restart Moto, and we'll move on to round 2. That was frustrating, but it's all right. You know what? We're playing a cool deck. Oh, I need to end the prediction. That's right. Hang on. For all y'all gamblers out there, Sigma's welcome to start a new prediction if y'all want to feed them gambling addictions with your arbitrary internet points. Well, we learned a few things, I think. In Magic Online, you automatically pass when you play a spell or ability. If you want to keep priority, hold down Control key. I did. It has been that way for years. The only currency with predictable value is arbitrary internet points. Oh my gosh. They're at least tied to hard redemptions, so they are worth something. Welcome, Jod. How's it going? Alright, I would like to play first. We will reveal Lutri. And I'm going to keep this. It's not an amazing hand, but I think it'll work. According to the bot, our opponent was last seen playing Amulet Titan, which I don't think this hand would be that stellar against. But we'll lead on Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Ketria Triome. Crack Scalding Tarn. We'll go get our Raugrin Triome. Untap. We draw a Dress Down. Play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Misty and crack it for an island. And they play a Wave Sifter. So this is the Elemental Tokens deck? We just Dress Down here. No, because... Do I cast Dress Down here? Because if this enters the battlefield and it's... I don't remember how this interacts with Evoke. They wouldn't get the tokens, but they'd only have one permanent. Well, we cast Dress Down before it enters the battlefield, I think. So let's go ahead and do that. Dress Down on the combo turn. That is more tempting. Yeah, we'll do Dress Down on the combo turn. You're right. I'm going to Logic Knot this. Try and slow him down a little bit. Alright, we untap. We draw Bloodstained Mire. Play Bloodstained Mire. And I think I just put Lutri in my hand. Yeah, I'm going to go get the mountain and put Lutri in my hand. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a mountain. They suspend Glimpse of Tomorrow. Okay, we untap. We draw Ragavan. So, play an island. I think we just dash Ragavan here. Try and get a little extra mana. Go to combat, hit him for 2. We exile a Fury. Pick up Ragavan. Glimpse ticks down to 2. Opponent plays a Sacred Foundry tapped and passes. We untap. We draw Darkslick Shores. Play Darkslick Shores. Yeah, if Fury had Flash, I think it would actually be probably the most broken out of them. Even as broken as the other ones are. Like, they're all broken, but we hit an opponent's Endurance. Alright. Pick up Ragavan. Glimpse ticks down to 1. Opponent plays a Misty. Cracks it. I'm pretty sure they play multiple Endurance, not just the one. Opponent plays Titania. So I can either Dress Down the Titania or I can Dress Down in response to the Glimpse. And I think that second one is better. So they get back Misty. We untap. We draw Soul Guide Lantern. That probably can't hurt to have it on battlefield, so we're going to shock Steam Vents. Play the Lantern. Exile Wave Sifter, because if they do recycle their grave at all, that would be a good thing to make sure they don't have in their deck. Okay. Opponent makes an Elemental token. Untaps. I'm going to wait for them to put Glimpse onto the stack. Then we Dress Down. Hopefully they don't have a counter. We drew Counterspell. That's pretty good. I think it's safer to let this resolve. Could Borrower plus Lutri. I could. I think that's better after this resolves, as long as we aren't dead. Because they end up with less lands. They don't get like crazy Risen Reef shenanigans. Well, Lutri wouldn't work now, you're right. Opponent plays a land. We can on the end step, though. So we sack Dress Down. Okay, hold control. I am holding priority. We are going to Petty Theft Risen Reef. And in response, we are going to cast Lutri to copy Petty Theft. Okay, we will bounce a Fury and the Risen Reef. Oh, opponent's cracking fetch lands. They're going to Cascade into Glimpse on their own end step here. That is exactly what they're going to do. They're going to counter my Petty Theft. So maybe not leaving up Counterspell was a bad idea. Alright. I didn't consider that. So that gets countered, and that gets countered. Okay. We untap. Draw a useless land. I guess I can try and sack to draw. I don't think there's a Wrath in this deck. Main or side. Let's go ahead and consider. Mana Leak can go to the grave. We do draw Terminate. Play Flooded Strand. We go blue, blue, and I guess play a Murktide. Exiling all of the instants and sorceries we can, which is not that many. Then we pass the turn, leave up Terminate or Counterspell, I guess. And if they swing out and have nothing else, I think we survive and then kill them. Okay, they play a forest. They go to combat. How much damage is this? 2, 4, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So if I'm going to terminate, I have to terminate this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I have to take 10 and go to 3 and just hope they can't, like, wheel into 2 Furies to kill Murktide or wheel into 3 damage to kill me. Then they play a Risen Reef. Okay, so Ragavan is not lethal currently. I think I do have to fetch to thin my deck. Okay, I can't shock, so it's not like I could use it for mana anyway. And we drew a Blood Crypt. Dang it. Alright. So game 2. Definitely want Chalice in the main deck. We're just drop it on 0 if we get it. Same with Lavinia. Same with probably Dovin's Veto. Gut Shot could matter on a Risen Reef, but not if they're comboing off, just like pre-combo, so not that much, actually. I don't think Alpine Moon is good. Spell Pierce is probably not good, neither is Flusterstorm. Isolate hits only tokens. So what's bad? Well, in our deck, I think... I'm going to cut Seasoned Pyro. Lightning Helix seems kind of bad, other than just, like, burn to close out the game. Which, I mean... Maybe I should be expecting to play more of a tempo game plan than what I'm currently trying to think of, but... And I think Jace is way too slow. I mean, maybe I should drop to Fairy and just play Lightning Helix instead, but... I kind of like it if we're going to play the control role. Jace just immediately dying to Fury is why he's worse than Teferi here. Well, I'll try and run it like this, I think. Alright, we'll play first. Reveal Lutri. Alright, we got cantrips, we got counterspells, we got a counterspell, we got a kill spell. I will keep this. And at this point, just kind of have to hope it's enough. I will probably not be immediately fetching for Raugrin Triome, because I'm going to be wanting to cast these cantrips on my opponent's turn. So play Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. Opponent plays Scalding Tarn. Crack Scalding Tarn. Let's get a Steam Vents. Untapped and consider. I will not mill Force of Negation. We untap, draw to Fairy. Play Scalding Tarn. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks their Scalding Tarn. Gets a Raugrin Triome. So we have to choose between, like, getting a Watery Grave or getting a Raugrin Triome here. Opponent gets a Forest. So I'm going to go with the Triome. And then I'm going to opt. Spirebluff's fine. I will keep a Spirebluff. We draw Cling to Dust. Play Spirebluff Canal. Pass the turn. Now, on my opponent's turn, I could Prismari Command and loot. And if they tried to Cascade in response, we are holding our Singleton Force of Negation. But I would have to give up Mana Leak to do that. Opponent plays a Risen Reef. So they will get value out of this unless I counter it. They either draw a card or they ramp. I think this is fine. So I'm going to change my game plan slightly. I'm going to make a treasure and kill Risen Reef. Opponent just draws. Because if I draw a land, now I can play Teferi. There it is. Play Polluted Delta. Fetch. I'm going to get a Watery Grave because I do need black mana. Uptick Teferi. We draw a Counterspell. Perfect. Pass the turn. Untap Raugrin Triome. Untap Watery Grave. Pass to our opponent's turn. Another Risen Reef. I think that's fine. They do ramp this time. I'm going to terminate the Risen Reef. We untap and draw Ragavan. Uptick to Fairy. Man, Teferi Ragavan feels really good. Just like mana and cards for free. That seems really good. Get our opponent for 2, get a treasure, get a Seasoned Pyro. I don't really want to discard anything in my hand, so pick up Ragavan. Untap the lands we use to play Ragavan. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Omnath, and that is going to catch a mana leak. Because like a single fetch land gives them all the mana in the universe if I don't do that. I did not leave myself open to cast Cling to Dust, but I don't think I'm going to anyway. We draw Prismatic Ending, uptick. We get a Thoughtseize. I think Thoughtseize is fine here. Shardless Agent, Violent Outburst, Wave Sifter, Pyromancer, and take Violent Outburst. Dash Ragavan. And go to combat. Hit them for 2. We exile a Fulminator Mage. Is it worth hitting my opponent's Raugrin Triome and taking them off red? Even if it's wrong and super greedy, I'm still going to do it, because how often do you get to Stone Rain your opponent with their own Stone Rain? Pick up Ragavan, untap Raugrin Triome, and Watery Grave. Pass the turn. I only have single counterspell this turn regardless, so they drew a mountain. Opponent casts Shardless Agent. They wheel into Glimpse, which we will counterspell. So opponent gets a 2/2. Yeah, Monkey is really dumb. We untap. We draw K command. Uptick to Fairy. We get an Inquisition. I am going to Inquisition my opponent, and I'm going to take Seasoned Pyro from them, because I don't want them drawing a bunch of cards. I do not have a Fursona. I am not a furry. And then we will target player discards a card, destroy target artifact. Oh, I wouldn't have been able to do that because I didn't have black mana, but we got there, thankfully. That may have been better. This deck is very mentally taxing for me, so I'm glad I took my medication this morning. I think we just run it back as is. Now, why would you go and do a thing to yourself like that, Phoenix?
Fursona is just a golem. No.
I don't have a Fursona. Oh my gosh. We have a counterspell. We got a Dragon's Rage Channeler. K command, consider. I think this hand is good enough. I don't have a grinder. I don't have an OnlyFans. Oh my god. Opponent starts on Colony Garden. So we are going to get a Steam Vents. Is that some kind of second place joke, Jod? Pass the turn. Oh my gosh. You're going to scare away all the new people. All the new people that don't know me. They're just like, hey, this jank content creator is cool. I wonder what's happening in his chat. Oh my god! Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills. Oh, Sliver. I'm not part of a hive mind. We draw a Drown in the Loch. Play Polluted Delta. Go to combat. Email already in use. Suspicious. You don't know what my email is. Oh, gosh. And I think I hope I would be intelligent enough to use a throwaway for something that I wouldn't want people to find. Oh my gosh. Real talk though, actually in college, somebody did sign up for a dating website as me. In college, they were using my pictures to catfish people. And they actually talked to a girl who went to my college, and she tried talking to me, and I was like, I don't know who you are. We've been messaging. And I was like, no, we haven't. Somebody's using my my likeness for an account. So that's already happened once to me. Opponent plays a Risen Reef. Is that happening right now? No. Risen Reef. I think we can let this enter the battlefield. How do you know it isn't happening right now? I guess I have no proof that that wouldn't happen right now. But I do tend to Google myself occasionally, and that's not a euphemism. So opponent plays a Risen Reef. So we are going to fetch Watery Grave and then cast Consider. We're not going to shock though. So we get Surveil. Prismatic Ending is not a spell I'm going to cast anytime soon. Spirebluff Canal can go to the grave. We draw big Teferi. Not exactly what I was hoping for. Untap. There's an excellent draw. So, put Chalice down on 0, Surveil. Fetch land into the grave. Play Arid Mesa. Pass the turn. We're not going to play anything else this turn. I really want to play Teferi Time Raveler, but I know my opponent, like, 99% chance has a Fury. You do not have any permission from me to do that. There's the Fury we knew existed. Now the question is, do we counter that? And I think the answer is yes. Like, I don't want to draw these lands right now, but I can't just put all these lands in my grave. I have to draw them eventually. Opponent plays a Hallowed Fountain tapped, which I think is a good sign for us. They Shardless Agent, just as a 2/2, I think. Wheeling a Glimpse into the Chalice. So that's two glimpses we don't have to worry about now. Opponent goes to combat, does not attack, although I don't really understand why. Get a Raugrin Triome. There was also, like, I could have let them kill that and then killed their Risen Reef and picked up Dragon's Rage Channeler out of the grave, but we draw a Dress down. Now I'm going to play Teferi. Put Soul Guide and Lantern into the grave. I'm going to bounce nothing. I'm going to uptick Teferi because I have to attack. Alright, pass to my opponent's turn. I better not find my likeness on any dating sites, or there will be hellfire and damnation. Opponent plays Titania, picking up a Misty out of the grave. They immediately sack the Misty to get a token. Don't use reverse image search tomorrow. Oh gosh. Well, the way that that's written makes it even more terrifying, but they're going to attack Teferi for 3. That's fine. We untap. We draw a Terminate. Uptick Teferi. Now I'm regretting putting all those lands into the grave. I'm going to attack our opponent for 3. And I have to kill Titania, because otherwise they're just going to get a bunch of tokens and kill me. Lavinia is kind of redundant at this point. Omnath. Well, that could be real sad for me. But I still maintain that my decision was the correct one. I mean, if they can hit all the land drops, I could be completely screwed here, because they could kill both my creature and the Teferi. So they gain 4 life. Oh my goodness. Is this what happens when I stream when you degenerates are awake? And I use degenerates as a term very loosely for all the people with a green sword next to their name. And no one else. Another Omnath! Oh my god, and he's got a Risen Reef on board. Don't hit a land. Okay, thank god. Oh, Fury, no! Oh my gosh. I don't have the tools to come back from this. Singleton Verdict? No, we don't have any Wraths. So they can hit us for 6 and kill Teferi Time Raveler. Like, I don't even have Cryptic Tap. If I had the Lightning Bolt, I could at least save Teferi, not that that matters. Oh my gosh. And we're just dead. Like, I could drown in the Loch one of the Omnaths, but then I take even more damage. I promise this is a good deck. I'm just an incompetent pilot. Oh, jeez. Alright. Yeah, that latter half is what you'd be wishing for, isn't it? Gosh. Later, Phoenix. Thanks for tuning in. Alright, onward. Onward to round 3. Oh, I've got to complete that prediction. There we go. No worries, Sigma. Should be fine. I'm gonna quick plug, if you haven't yet and you've been enjoying this madhouse, I do have a YouTube channel. ! YouTube should get it to you. I also have a Discord, which is kind of like Twitch chat, but all the time. So Discord if you want to join, even just to lurk. And if you haven't already, please consider following the channel. It'd mean the world to me if you did. And of course, subscribing would be great, but is also not necessary. Oh, he's not down here for me to tell him. Porter! Porter, you're a good boy! Thank you, Ross3010, for following. I greatly appreciate it. And on to round 3. Oh, and the predictions back up. So if you want to bet your skulls, you can do that. Alright, for real this time. So reveal Lutri. This looks like a good hand, so we're going to keep this hand. This is a turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Dash Ragavan, I think.
Remembering subscribing to Kano's channel gets perks such as Axa his OnlyFan, Grinder, and...
I don't have an OnlyFans, and I don't have a Grinder. Oh my gosh, but Sissia never fails to make me laugh. I'm glad I waited till today to stream. Feeling so much better. Definitely way more in the mood to stream. Also, I think this is the first time I I've streamed while on my medication. For those of you that don't know, for those of you that are new, I have pretty severe ADHD, which is why my reading comprehension is very subpar. I know what all the cards do, I just forget some stuff. And I'm on a stimulant medication, but I generally don't take it on the weekend when I stream, because I stream for fun. El Rodeo-san, thank you so much for subscribing. You're a wonderful human being, and I appreciate your support. I'm not seeing my access to your private sites. I don't have an OnlyFans. Maybe I should make one and just sell cute pictures of Porter. Nothing, like, all safe for work, just cute dog pictures. So, start off with the Thoughtseize. I'm going to take Unmarked Grave from my opponent. This seems like what they can do the most damage with. And they are the Reanimator deck. The Reanimator deck is a very good deck, from what I understand. It's a deck that I'm kind of interested in playing and memeing with a little bit. Alright, opponent plays Concealed Courtyard. They draw Unmarked Grave just right off the top, putting an Archon of Cruelty into the grave. We untap. We draw Scalding Tarn, play Spirebluff, and let's go ahead and dash Ragavan. Oh my... Did you draw one? Because I definitely don't have a Fursona. Nothing against the people that do, but I don't have one. We exile the Swamp. Alright, pick Ragavan back up. Pass the turn. That's a wonderful drawing. Oh my goodness. Alright. Opponent plays a Glacial Fortress tapped because they do not have a plains or an island. We untap. We draw a Hallowed Fountain. Alright. Dash Ragavan. Hit our opponent for 2. We hit a Faithful Mending. Play Scalding Tarn. Pick up Ragavan. And pass the turn. Silver Bordered. Thank you for gifting a sub to Ocean Infinity. I'm sure they appreciate it. And I believe that started the hype train, for those of you that care about that. Alright, so opponent's turn. Why not play Jace? Oh, because Ragavan getting me mana is more important than playing Jace right now. Okay, opponent plays Teferi. They uptick Teferi to 5. And play a Watery Grave tapped. So, crack Scalding Tarn. We're going to go get a Raugrin Triome. Then untap. We draw Cling to Dust. Cling to Dust here is actually pretty nice. So what we're going to do is Bolt Teferi, Shock Hallowed Fountain, and dash Ragavan. And we will use Ragavan to kill Teferi. We don't get any benefit for that specifically, other than Teferi being off the board. And now we can Cling to Dust whatever they target with their reanimation spell. So if they happen to draw one, we can just Cling to Dust it out from underneath them, and we're good to go. Opponent going to Faithful Mending. We're not going to do anything about that. They draw 2 cards, gain 2 life, then discard 2 cards. So opponent will have 1 card left in their hand at the end of this. How does random gift subbing work? Is it someone in chat, or is it completely random? I actually don't know 100% who it's distributed amongst. I think it's distributed amongst people here first, but I have seen it pick people who are offline, so I don't know for sure. Was that a random sub that you gifted? Because if so, I don't think Ocean Infinity is online. It must just be random out of the followers then. Opponent picks up another Archon of Cruelty. So they do have an Unburial Rites in the grave. We untap. We draw Bloodstained Mire. Play it. Dash Ragavan. Go to combat. Hit them for 2. We exile an Archon of Cruelty, but unfortunately don't quite have the mana to play it. That would have been sick. I do have the mana to play Jace now, but I'm going to wait. Actually, no. They can only cast 1 reanimation spell next turn, so it would be fine if I play Jace Vryn's Prodigy this turn. So if their entire turn is flashback on Burial Rites, we can just Cling to Dust and everything should be fine and dandy. But I think they only play 3 Archons. I don't know that they play the full 4. Okay, so opponent is going to cast Unburial Rites on the Archon of Cruelty. We fetch and shock Watery Grave. Then we Cling to Dust Archon of Cruelty. New lore. We just making up. You know where I come from? Stuff like that is just called, like, rumors. Oh, God. Making this horrible headcanon about me. I guess we just dash Ragavan again. Dash Ragavan till you win. Let's see what we hit. Solitude. I'm going to loot with Jace. If they are playing Solitude, I don't want them to potentially have a good Solitude target. So just uptick Jace to 6. And then pass the turn. Pick up Ragavan. Kano stream is like the series of unfortunate events. The horrible headcanon. Oh my gosh. Alright, so opponent plays a land. I don't think they have any instant speed reanimation spells. Unless they're playing Makeshift Mannequin. So I could probably get away with flashing back Cling to Dust to get rid of this other Archon. That feels relatively safe, so I'm going to do it. Gain some more life. Untap. We draw Force, which is good. Uptick Jace. Dash Ragavan. Go to combat. Hit them for 2. We hit Muldrifter. I'm going to leave that in exile. While I could cast or evoke it, I don't want them to have a creature that if they reanimated it, it would just reload their hand. Okay, opponent cracks Flooded Strand. I'm going to put Lutri into my hand soon. I think we've pretty well locked this game up as long as I don't throw, but I guess that's always a possibility. They flashback Faithful Mending. That's fine. And there is the 4th Archon of Cruelty. We cannot flashback Cling to Dust, or we cannot escape Cling to Dust. Right-click Concede Match. Oh my gosh. I like how you say that despite having the believer symbol next to your name. Alright. Opponent is going to Prismatic Ending Jace. So we're going to drown in the Loch. We do want our Jace. Untap. Uptick Jace. Dash Ragavan. Go to combat. Yeah, that's right. I can see when you believe and when you doubt. Kano's always watching. Hit our opponent for 2. Get a treasure. We exile a Grief. Now this is a spell worth casting. Opponent has 1 card left in hand. Get a nice free Thoughtseize off our Ragavan. Oh, it's an Ephemerate. The Reanimating Griefemerate. Pick up Ragavan. Santa Kano confirmed. My beard ain't quite that long or that white. It was long enough to be a Santa beard at one point, and I miss it. But then I shaved back when I was applying for new jobs. And I guess it paid off, technically. I did get a new job. But I still miss the beard. It'll grow back, though. Alright, opponent. Doing nothing. You draw an Arid Mesa. Play an Arid Mesa. Crack Arid Mesa. For Christmas, you should swap this beard out for a white one. We do not know that the variable beard equals false is what secured your job. That's true, I guess we don't. It showed them that I was willing to make sacrifices. Opponent's not looking so hot. No, I don't think they are. I think you're right. Uh-oh. Oh no, Solitude. Well, we get to exile something. Probably Grief. Okay, we're gonna kill Solitude and then make a treasure. So they still exile Grief and we still gain life, but they can't, like, block our remaining threat here. We exile a Flooded Strand. I'm gonna save Dragon's Rage Channeler for ulting Jace next turn. Just for, like, 1 extra mil. Ragavan's got a whole treasury over here. Opponent plays a Priest of Fell Rites. Okay. The old sorcery speed reanimation spell. So, ult Jace. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Mill our opponent. Consider. Mill our opponent. Surveil. Lightning Helix on top. Because that's another really simple spell. I will not put Lightning Helix into my grave. Lightning Helix the Priest. Mill my opponent. Surveil. Unholy Heat into the grave. We don't need it. Cast Ragavan. Mill our opponent. And Kaya's Guile. Exile our opponent's grave. Make a 1/1. Black, black, white. We mill our opponent and then exile their grave. Alright. If only we didn't have to spend some of it to get 4 of them. No kidding, right? Okay. So, Nile Spellbomb, Relic of Progenitus coming in 100%. Spell Pierce seems good. Dovin's Veto seems good. Okay, what's bad? Fury doesn't strike me as particularly useful. Prismatic Ending, like, they do play Priest of Fellright, so Prismatic Ending does have a target. The counterspells are mostly okay. I think we're playing a control deck, really. So I think Seasoned Pyro's coming out. And what else is going to be bad? I mean, Bolt's not that great because it doesn't kill the creatures they would reanimate, but it does still put pressure on them, so it's not like it's a dead card. We are going to win the game probably via like random chip damage, so I don't really want to cut any of the burn, even if the burn's not that fantastic. Dress down could be important. I guess we can cut like an opt, and oh, that's true. That's true. Burn spells are not totally dead. I wasn't cutting them anyway for different reasons, but that is a good reason to keep them under consideration. Good call. And then I kind of want to drop Inquisition, but we're going to cut Fatal Push, actually. Fatal Push kills Grief, and it kills the Priest, and that's it. Everything else, it does not kill, and that's kind of a problem. Okay, I mean, I can work with this. So we'll keep. See how our opponent starts. I mean, if it's Grief Ephemerate, then we could be in trouble. So we would just have nothing after that. So they mulled the 6. They start Marsh Flats, Fetch, Watery Grave, Shock, Thoughtseize. There goes our counterspell, I think. Yep. Alright. We untap. We draw a mountain. Play out Raugrin Triome. Pass the turn. Opponent plays the plains. We untap. We draw Big Teferi. So let's go ahead and fetch. Get a Watery Grave tapped. And just cast Serum Visions. We draw Arid Mesa. Spirebluff to the bottom. Relic to the top. And I guess as long as they don't have like Faithful Mending into Persist, we should be okay. And it doesn't look like they do. Okay, we draw a Relic. So play Arid Mesa, play Relic, make them exile a card, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. We're getting griefed. Well, there goes Teferi, unfortunately. I mean, if they've got Ephemerate, that's particularly bad. Yep, because that means they take Prismari Command. Alright, so we really need to kill that grief this turn. And if we don't, they're just going to rip any non-land card we leave in our hand out. Alright, play the Scalding Tarn. Make them exile the Thoughtseize. This would be a perfect turn to put Lutri on our hand, except for Ephemerate on rebound. So they go for the Ephemerate, which means they lose an attack. Yeah, they can't take anything. We've got the unthoughtseizable hand. Opponent's still stuck on 2 mana. We're still fetching. Get a Blood Crypt. Trying to diversify our mana, set up for a Kroxa. Basically, whatever can we do here. Now, could dash Ragavan. They would probably block. So I think what I do is like play out a Flooded Strand and just put Lutri in my hand. Then pass. Well, exile the last card in their grave first. Opponent untaps. They play a Flooded Strand, go to combat. Attack us for 3. We go to 14. They crack Flooded Strand for a Godless Shrine. And they are going to evoke a Muldrifter. Okay, so they get to draw 2 cards. They sack Muldrifter. And their end step, crack Flooded Strand, get a Sacred Foundry, untap, draw Jace, exile a card from their grave, play a mountain, dash Ragavan, get in for 2, we exile a Hallowed Fountain, play Jace, like this, leaving open the rest of our mana, and pass, pick up Monkey. Opponent untaps, they go to combat, they attack for 3, no blocks, we go to 10, gotta stay disciplined with this Relic. Opponent shocks a Godless Shrine and goes to 8. And they are going to cast another Grief. I could flash in Lutri, but Ragavan is still higher value. So we're going to give them the option to make the mistake of taking Lutri rather than Ragavan. Although I suspect they take the Ragavan, of course. Now they Solitude by exiling a Faithful Mending. Oh, this isn't legendary. For some reason I thought it was legendary. Alright, they lose Solitude. Do I ever think of speedrunning games? I'm not particularly good at that sort of thing, but like I'm not opposed to trying. I just don't know that it would be particularly good. All right, play Bloodstained Mire. Hold priority. We're gonna say each opponent sacks a creature. You gain 4 life. White, black, red. Holding control. Holding priority. Then Lutri. Red, red, blue. Okay. Copy Kaya's Guile. Speedrun Utron League? No kidding, right? Opponent says, well, that sucks. Pass the turn. Make him exile a card. We still have Relic active, so if they do draw like a reanimation spell, we can just nuke the graves and draw. Otter. Yeah, we're gonna nuke the graves. Oh no, I have no fetchable lands! It's a good thing that the monkey gives me treasure. Exile the graves, draw a card. Probably the best possible top deck. Opponent plays a tap land. We untap. Expressive Iteration. We put 1 into our hand, 1 on the bottom, and 1 into exile. Go to combat. What was my last fetch land? Bloodstained Mire? I don't think there's any more white land. Oh, there's a Hallowed Fountain. So Arid Mesa actually will get a Hallowed Fountain. And we will cast out Brazen Borrower, because it increases our clock, making sure to tap carefully to leave the potential for a drown in the Loch. Is the Lutri deck always having the answers? It's the Lutri deck getting lucky is what it is. Alright, prediction is finished. Believers, you get the points. Alrighty. I'll be restarting the client, and it'll be on to round 4. So in one moment, I will open the next prediction, because I think Sigma is still indisposed. So if y'all want to keep betting, y'all can keep betting. Alright, moving on to round 4. This is a long league. A very, very long league. This is about the time I was hoping I would kind of be done with my stream for the day, but it's okay if it goes a little bit later than this. I'm wanting to take Porter for a nice long walk while it's nice outside, because it's like up to 40 right now. It'll stay that way for maybe another hour or two. Alright, round 4, here we go. Alright, I would like to play first. We will reveal Lutri. And I think this hand's alright. We'll keep. Not amazing, but not terrible either. Lead on Flooded Strand, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Sunbaked Canyon into Chromatic Star. Well then, I wonder if this is like a Nahiri Boom style deck. We draw Cling to Dust, play Polluted Delta, pass the turn. I could have Prismatic Ending to the Chromatic Star. I don't think that's worth it. It is Nahiri Boom. I should not have fetched. This opponent's going to go for the Boom. I'll just float mana. Okay. Play Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. Oh gosh, he's not coming around until the next St. Patrick's Day. Alright, opponent plays a Rustvale Bridge and has Crack the Earth like a jerk. Oh, and they can sack Chromatic Star! Oh, I should have Prismatic Endinged. We lose Scalding Tarn. Oh, that is atrocious. Oh, that is just atrocious. We draw another Polluted Delta, play it, pass the turn. All fetch lands all the time. Opponent plays a Flagstones of Trocaire into a Karn Silver Golem. I don't really have a choice. I kind of have to let them have that. They're going to wish. They get Liquid Metal Coating, of course. So we fetch, Shock Watery Grave, Cling to Dust, Boom and Bust. We draw Inquisition, which is good because that'll be a sorcery. But I don't know that we're going to get up to Delirium for Unholy Heat, which is pretty bad. I will need red mana if I want to Unholy Heat. So I'm going to go fetch a Blood Crypt. This is probably a mistake. We find Jace, but it's probably going to be too late. So, Inquisition. Put it as Cleansing, Wildfire, Coating, and Prismatic Ending. So, take Coating. Those other cards are irritating, but not the end of the world yet. Play Scalding Tarn, pass the turn. I will probably end up casting Subtlety if... okay, so my opponent wishes with this Karn. This will be bad if they have like a second Liquid Metal Coating. Tormod's Crypt. They play Tormod's Crypt. They can sack it to exile their own grave so that they could cast perhaps... Or they could just wish for Liquid Metal Coating off like another Karn. Okay, Chandra, Torch of Defiance. So we are going to... We have to pitch something to Subtlety. And what we pitch is likely going to be Jace, because there's no guarantee we draw a fourth land here. And then we have to Unholy Heat this Karn, as bad as it is. So we need to fetch with Scalding Tarn, shock Sacred Foundry, Unholy Heat Karn, even though they're holding another Karn, and then evoke Subtlety. And as much as it pains me to, we have to Subtlety Mind Sculptor here. Do we? I need to get a Planeswalker on board. And Teferi it, well, Jace is so much better here if he resolves. Like, unbelievably. But I fetched a bunch of times, and there's no guarantee that I gotta... I even have tap lands left in the deck. I think I gotta pitch Jace. Oh... I think under almost any other circumstances, this is wrong. So we Subtlety Chandra to try and buy ourselves some time. They put it back on top. We untap. We draw Thoughtseize. Now I could Thoughtseize their other Karn. That is probably better than playing Teferi. But they're going to play Chandra next turn. I'm going to play Teferi and uptick. Pass the turn. So opponent's going to play Chandra, I think. Yep. Uptick for mana. And probably Cleansing Wildfire me. Cleansing Wildfire themselves. Alright, that's reasonable. If we draw a fourth color of mana... We drew Murktide Regent. I don't have double blue. Okay, I've got no choice but to downtick Teferi here and hope to hit a second blue land. Artifact, creature, or enchantment. Alright, we can bounce the artifact land then. That stops them from casting a bust. We only draw Fatal Push. Okay. Thoughtseize. All of these are bad. But Stone Rain is actually the worst for us. So take Stone Rain. Pass the turn. I own a playset of Ragavans now. I bought them. I don't have any in paper, but I do have some Modern Horizons 2 sealed product that I haven't opened. Figured I'd just hold on to it for a while. Okay, opponent plays Karn. Wishes... Pithing Needle. So they can Pithing Needle Teferi. Hey, no problem, dear Dad. Thanks for showing up. Glad to have you. I hope they were enjoyable. When it upticks Chandra to 6, we go to 8. We untap. Draw Mana Leak. The only play I have is I can put Lutri in my hand. That's literally the only thing I can do. I guess I can Prismatic Ending here. And then uptick Teferi, maybe? Then pass the turn. Oh, you've only been timed out once. Oh, good. So opponent's going to cast Crack the Earth. Alright, we're going to sack Sacred Foundry then. Opponent sacks Flagstones. We don't have a way to stop Chandra from ulting unless we top deck like a Lightning Bolt. And it would be such a waste of like a Lightning Bolt. Okay, opponent wishes with Karn. We know they're still holding Prismatic Ending as well. They're going to get Liquid Metal Coating. And I can Mana Leak, but it's not enough. Alright. Just going to scoop and go to the next game. So versus Land Destruction. What do we do versus Land Destruction? I think we need Spell Pierce and Flusterstorm to try and Dovin's Veto to try and fight the Land Destruction spells. Wear and Tear seems like it's potentially useful. Lavinia doesn't do anything. Charmaw is an additional threat, and it gets its cost reduced, at least. That might be better than, like, the pipe dream of getting Big Teferi on board. Although Big Teferi is how we win if we survive a whole bunch of, like, boom and busts and whatnot. Grave Hate is not as relevant. Chalice on 0 doesn't help us. Gutshot doesn't really kill anything. Alpine Moon, we can take Indestructible off their land and fix their mana, but that doesn't help us that much. Okay. So in that case, I think we drop Fatal Push. Not Lightning Helix, but Terminate. Kaya's Guile, I think, is not as good. And I'm going to cut and opt. I'll try it like this. I would like to play first. We will reveal Lutri. His hand only casts Bolt. That's a mulligan. Alright, this is significantly better, but basically only if we draw another blue source. I gotta put back Fury. I could have put back Prismatic Ending as well, but Prismatic Ending in theory we can still cast. Okay, Watery Grave to the bottom, Polluted Delta to the top. Pass the turn. Please don't start Land Crack the Earth. That would be... Alright. We draw Polluted Delta, play Polluted Delta, pass the turn. Another tap land for our opponent. I am going to fetch here as much as I don't want to. Get a Triome, untap. We draw Fury, play a Mountain. Pass the turn. We need to make 2 more land drops. I put our odds at about 50-50. Opponent plays Cascading Cataracts. They attempt a Stone Rain. So we counterspell. Untap. We draw Steam Vents. I am going to shock Steam Vents because if they play a 4-mana Planeswalker, I want to just hard cast Subtlety. Okay, opponent shocks Sacred Foundry. They're going to boom our Triome. Dovin's Veto. I will probably be done streaming after this league. Second boom. Alright, that's pretty unfortunate. Untap. We draw Polluted Delta. Play Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. At least we still have Subtlety. Yeah, I should still be streaming on Wednesday, and the only reason I wouldn't be is if I felt sick again. Alright, fetch with Polluted Delta. Let's get a Watery Grave. And I'm just going to cast Subtlety here. It's like a tempo 3/3. It's not great. I could have gotten a Hallowed Fountain, but I have 2 black sources I can fetch versus only 1 white source left I can fetch. We untap, we draw Unholy Heat, go to combat, attack for 3, and I'm going to put Lutri into my hand. Just because I don't have anything else to do with my mana. Opponent untaps. I mean, if they draw all land destruction spells and no threats, in theory they will die to a 3/3, but... Okay. Opponent makes a Chandra Acolyte of Flame, which we will likely kill with a Fury. They crack the Earth. We sack a Mountain. We untap and draw Jace. Unholy Heat is much more castable than Lutri will be. So it pains me to do this, but I'm pitching Lutri to Fury. Kill Chandra. Hit our opponent for 3. No worries. Thanks for showing up, Ross 3010. Glad to have you. Opponent is going to pillage our red land. Okay. We draw Dragon's Rage Channeler. Hit our opponent for 3, take him to 9. Opponent's turn. They play a Mountain. They play a Chandra, Torch of Defiance. They tick down to kill Subtlety. We need a red land right now. Okay, this is a red land, I think. Barely. Get a Blood Crypt. Unholy Heat to kill Chandra. We kind of have to hope our opponent bricks and we draw lands, because, well, I keep drawing Stone Rains. That's the nature of this deck. We draw nothing we can cast, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Flagstones. Plays a Karn. Here comes the Liquid Metal Coating. We don't have a Spell Pierce for it. Yep. Play Scalding Tarn. Fetch. And I don't think we have any red sources left. Oh, we do have a Sacred Foundry. Okay, Sacred Foundry is important. Play Dragon's Rage Channeler. Pass the turn. They're going to blow up our red land. They play a Sunbaked Canyon, which I'm pretty sure they'll cycle. They have a Prismatic Ending as their final card, and that's the nail in the coffin. We cannot come back. Alright, well, we fought it out to the bitter end. We are 0-3, or we are 1-3, excuse me. Well, it's the deck I started playing in this stream, so I'm not too salty about it. I was playing a very similar deck, and we did win 1, so, you know, it's only fitting I lose 1 to that deck. Normally, I would play out the 5th match, but this league is getting to be very, very long, and there's not that much reward for playing it out. I would like to play the Lutri deck again. When I have more experience with a deck like this. This deck is a regular 60-card deck, but is roughly the same amount of mental strain as playing Battle of Wits, with the caveat that I didn't construct it. I've only... Like, I constructed my last Battle of Wits list, so I kind of understood what was in it. But here, there's so many interactions that you got to be aware of to play this deck optimally. And I have no surprise. It's no surprise to me at all that the deck creator has done very, very well with this deck. I forget who posted it, but it's a very, very complicated deck, and one that I'm not optimal at piloting. So, Collins Mullen. It doesn't surprise me that they're doing well with this deck, because I think it is a very good deck. It's a very skill-testing deck, and it's kind of... It would just be a difficult thing for me to pilot effectively, but I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, if you're watching on YouTube, hey, sorry I didn't finish out the league. You guys here, sorry I didn't finish out the league. If you guys use YouTube, please consider following me over there. Follow me here. If you enjoyed this content, I'll be streaming again, hopefully Wednesday night, provided nothing else insane happens. And, yeah. Also, !Discord will get you a link to the Discord. If you want to hang out there, it's basically like Twitch chat, but every day of the week. So, y'all are super wonderful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna roll credits. Did it work? Stream Deck. Play credits. There we go. Y'all have a good night, everybody.